Many thanks for staying with us. Now we have Barrister Kabir Akimbolu, who is joining us live from Lagos. He is a legal practitioner, also a human rights activist. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Firecrackers at this time.
It's a pleasure for having me on the program. Good evening.
Okay, all right. So now to the discussion of the day. We celebrated Workers' Day. That was on May 1st. And then the federal government made promises. And then we also know that a lot of workers in Nigeria too, we're also looking forward to this day. Because the previous month, it was assumed that the federal government is going to do something concerning the living wage, because the Labour Congress are saying they don't want minimum wage, they want living wage, something that would be able to cater for the well-being of Nigerian workers. So they are demanding for about 615,000 naira. Let us even first of all look at it. With the state of Nigeria right now, how practical do you think it is that an average worker, well, state or federal government worker in Nigeria would be earning 615,000 naira?
Well, if you look at it very well, you see that you will agree with me that generally the economy is in a very bad shape, and the welfare of the citizen is is at the lowest ebb, in fact, at the poorest level. And for that reason, whether anybody likes it or not, increment of wages is indispensable. And whether any government likes it or not, it must be done. However, much as we want the increment of wages, or as the NLC or whoever in the working class, much as they want increment in wages, it must also reflect the practical realities on ground. One thing is to demand, another thing is to demand what is reasonable and what is just and fair, and I will not put too much pressure on the polity. However, the government of the day should do what is possible to ensure that what they are going to agree on at the end of the day is something that is a take home that can really be worth it, that can really, that can really put food on their table. For instance, my sister, today a bag of rice is sold for something thousand naira. Recently, they said, it has come down, but the reality on ground is that it has not come down at all. So, suppose the minimum wage today is 30,000 naira. So, if the minimum wage is 30,000 naira, now how do they buy rice? How do they buy yam? How do they do all other things? They pay school fees, they pay house rent, they pay transport. And look at the increment in petroleum prices again. This is another pressure and burden on the workers. So how much do you want to pay them that will be justiciable, that will be justifiable, that will be fair, that will be equitable? These are the things, these are the parameters the government should be looking at. And I think the best solution to the impasse is for the government to revamp the economy. If the economy is okay and Naira has gained its value, it has some purchasing power or capability, then you can be talking about any partition like maybe adding 10,000 or 20,000 to the salary. But I can tell you today, 100,000 minimum wage is not workable. Many governments as of today are not paying the 33,000 naira. And if you now say they should pay 100,000, how many of them will be willing to pay it? And even though 100,000 is not enough. So we must look at it from all these angles, look at all these parameters in judging whether the demand of the Labour Congress or the civil servants are justifiable, and whether government is doing the right thing. I don't think government is doing the right thing. And NLC has the right to demand for increment in the salary and wages of workers.
Okay, well, if we look at one of the worries in public sector by experts is that if the federal government is willing and is able to pay them over 600,000 naira monthly, this might all have this rippling effect on all other sectors, especially the economy, because a lot of people might assume that since people have money now, they might raise prices of goods and services in the market, so that the share of it too is also going to ripple down to them. So do you think that that fear is valid, that if the federal government increases money, all masses, especially the ones that are not working for federal or state government, will suffer dearly for it?
I can tell you that
Yes, please go on. I can
Hello,
hear
I
you.
can tell you. Are you with me?
Yes, yes, please go on. Yes, please go on. Go on. I can hear you.
Are you with me?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am. Please
I
go
can
on.
tell you very well that these fears are not that they are tenable, fears, because we know what happened during the commission when it recommended increment in salary, and everything in the market went. We can read from the history book. Everything went high. And till today, anytime you increase salary, the marketers in the sellers in the market, they are also aware. The employer of labor, they are also aware. Everybody on the street, they are aware. Everybody will increase the prices of their goods. So it is not the best solution. However, when we are asking for increment in salary, it's just a kind of temporary measure to the problem that is ravaging the economy, or that is ravaging or disturbing the people. Because you see, the only solution that can work and that can last is when the economy is revamped and you can see things that are affordable, that the 30,000 you are having, if a bag of rice is 15,000 naira, then you can purchase and do something. If Congo of beans is something that you can afford, like 500 naira, like when it is 3,000, you can afford it. But when they are giving you 100,000 and a bag of rice is 70,000 naira, it's not even serving it. So you will discover that the increment in the salary or wages has not served the purpose for which you have intended it to be. So this is the issue. And why you will not blame NLC so much is when you look at the money being collected or being earned by the politicians, especially in National Assembly. It is in the public domain today, according to the Senator Shehu. He made it open that what they collected was 30 million naira per month, and that House of Rep 8 million naira. If a senator is collecting 30 million naira per month, a senator can employ 90 graduates and pay them 200,000 in a month, or employ 200 graduates and pay them 90,000 per month. And a professor in the university is earning 350 to 400,000 naira in a month, whereas a senator is earning 433,000 per day. This is not it's not tenable anywhere. We run the most expensive democracy in the world. These are passed in the public domain. It's not anything that anybody can be scared of. It's in the public domain. Their basic salary, not the other emolument, not allowances, not city allowance, not paper allowance, no housing allowance, no expenditure allowance, no car allowances. So when you look at all these things, you discover that it seems that if this 100,000 government can pay it, but if the federal government can pay it, can the state government still pay it? This is the problem, because some states are rich, some are poor. There are some states that are not even viable in Nigeria. They are not supposed to be states. They are supposed to be under the parent states, but we call them states. Because of this, there are a lot of issues with them. The money that will be paid, for instance, by Lagos state government, other states may not be able to pay. The money that can be paid by Ogun state government or some other rivers or delta, some other states who are not oil producing states may not be able to pay. These are the things that they must look at in coming to a decision whether the money has to be increased or not. These are the variables.
Okay, all right. And now that the organized labor is threatening to have a showdown if the federal government does not start paying this money by the end of May, do you not think that perhaps they are biting off more than they could chew?
Yes, when I can tell you, mean labor or government?
Well, both of them in this instance, especially the labor, since they're threatening to
Yes,
have a showdown.
if you say labor, yeah, if you say labor have every reason to go on strike. However, with the antecedents of labor activities in Nigeria in the recent past, people are no longer having confidence in them because they believe that they are just a set of bourgeois, or it's kind of distinct bourgeois where we just go move people to go on strike or they cause some crisis of calamities before some other things. At the end of the day, something will happen and they just say, oh, government has spoken with us and they have told us that they are going to do this. Promissory note, they give them promises upon promises that will not be enforceable at the end of the day, and the workers will still be suffering. So the people are not really very keen about going on strike with them, and it will be difficult for them to be able to mobilize the whole Nigeria effectively to go on strike. However, on the part of government too, it will be dangerous for government to allow any strike at this point in time when people are not happy, when people are sad, when people are suffering, when people are hungry, because it can go out of hand and lead to something else. We should not forget what happened during the NSAT. We should not forget what happened during the recent, death of this Musician. All those social malaise can cause issues of disruption of peace. So government should be very careful. They should handle the issue of a strike, very carefully and ensure that it does not take place. They should know how to engage the labor, effectively, positively, that it will work for the benefit of the people. But I can tell you what the government is paying today at every level is too poor. It's not anything anybody can talk about, because if $100 is going, if $1 is going for 1,200 naira, and somebody is earning 30,000, it means somebody is working for $30 in like $30 in a month. That's what you earn. Something that is similar is like 30 naira in those days. In those days, our 3 naira will $3 will buy 2 naira. In those days, just recently during Babangida era and all that is 6 naira. During Abacha era, it was 22 naira. You understand? Even in the military, that's the 1995. So we are here today. Up to 1998. Its dollar was 22 naira. And how did we get to where we are today? Who are those people ordering the dollar? Spending of dollars in those days used to be a criminal offense that they will charge you and sentence you and jail you. You understand? But now people spend dollars at parties, people spend dollars at public functions, and they go around in dollars with the millionaires in Nigeria. These are what is putting pressures on the naira. If we don't use this as a means, then there will be trouble. That's what they call currency swap. But Buhari promised currency swap between Nigeria and China. They signed the agreement, but they never implemented it. Nobody has the political will, because they are afraid of America. They say everything, 80% of the goods we consume in Nigeria come from China. Why should we have to change to dollar before we go and buy goods in China? These are the questions that you have to be asking yourself. So some people are benefiting from the usage of naira. If there is dollarization of the economy, this is killing the economy. If the economy can be upgraded and can be revamped, that will be, it will be easy for the citizens. But it's dangerous for NLC to go on strike. Government should avoid it, and NLC has to protect their staff. So this is important. We have to kind of corner or be at the middle of the crossroads.
Okay, all right. So rather than NLC and TUC going on strike, would you not probably recommend that they should pursue measures to make sure that government cuts down cost of governance? Because like you mentioned earlier, Nigeria's democracy is way too expensive. Would that not be the better way out rather than threatening strike?
Yes, you see, let me tell you, experience has taught that Nigerian government, especially the authorities in Nigeria, don't like simple languages. I can tell you that. That is the truth of the matter. And again, it's similar to when you are biting somebody and you say, "You must not cry." He will cry because he feels pain. The NLC, all the workers in Nigeria have put their faith in the NLC's hand. NLC, as the parent body, we want to work. But again, what the government normally do in the past is to because they kind of to balkanize the NLC. We have the TUC. Some people will join them, some will not join them. This is what you have as the problem. But I can tell you, like you said, rightly observed, it is better. The best thing to do is for the economy to be revamped. Is there to the government should cut down the cost of governance. But when this is the call that has been made by civil society or by all well-meaning Nigerians over the years, we are surprised that the present government of Tinubu is still appointing, about 45 ministers. Is the highest in the history of Nigeria. You have a bogus a cabinet. Instead of you moderating it, you are making it to be wider. Now, they have removed subsidy in a country where a liter of fuel is sold for 2,000, in a country where a liter of fuel is sold for 2,500, in a country where a liter of diesel is sold for 1,700, 1,800 naira. How do you get production? Everything produced, we don't have light. The light that you are having is through diesel, which means all the services rendered by the producing companies or the companies sending services will be very expensive because the cost of production is high by the amount of diesel they are using to power their plants. This is about their machinery. This is not acceptable anywhere. What are we doing? Why can't our refineries work? Why can't our refineries produce oil? Why do we have to produce crude in Nigeria and take it outside the shore of Nigeria to go and mine and bring back? It can only be happening in Africa. It is not done anywhere. The resources that we have by ourselves, the resources that God has blessed us with, why should we manufacture them abroad? The cost of production becomes double. So, which means it will take a toll on the amount of the end user. So that is why end product is very expensive. So government should do something here. The NSC should also talk to the government, engage them very well. They should agree in a way that will not affect the workers, in a way that will not affect Nigerians, in a way that will not affect the economy and the peace and stability of Nigeria. This is very important. There is a duty on the government to do that. There is also a duty on the NLC to do that. Nigerians are looking at both of them. We are watching and we are praying.
All right, thank you so much for that. But if we look at what we have obtainable here, some people have also advocated that too much pressure is on the federal government, and the state government too should do something to make sure that their stage 2 is rich enough to pay workers whatever minimum wage it is that they could settle on at the end of the day. Because like you mentioned earlier, we have some states that are still very poor in Nigeria. So what is the role of state government in all this in making sure that they boost the revenue generating capacity of their state?
You see, let me tell you something. In Nigeria today, though we said those states are not viable, but with what they are receiving from the federation account now, before, those states that we say they are not viable, they are small states, they are the smallest of the states, you understand? Now, some of these states today, maybe in the past, during Muhammadu Buhari's administration, their allocations used to be like between 2.5 to 3 billion naira per month. But now, some states there is no month any such state that earn less than 7 billion naira, 8 billion, 9, 10 over the years. Since Tinubu got there, because of the removal of this oil subsidy, it made them to be getting more. So with the little they are having, at least they can effectively increase the salary of workers. Let me tell you something today. To govern is the simplest thing. All you need to do is to be sincere with yourself. Once you can earn that credit of sincerity, once you can beat your chest that I am sincere, I want to truly govern the people, I want to sincerely lead with the people, I want to optimistically lead the people, I want to lay bare my own integrity. I want to be accountable to the people. If this can be done, if you set yourself and you are above board like sister's wife, then all the people under you will not steal if you are not stealing. All the people under you will come to work if you are coming to work. All the people under you will perform their duties if you are performing your duties. But in a situation whereby you are not doing that, don't expect magic from others. So it takes it doesn't take much to lead, to be a leader, to be a president, to be a governor. So the governors of the states concerned or all other states, some states are rich. I know some states that are very rich, but they are not talking about the 30,000 minimum wages. They are not talking about this thing. Even I know of a state in the south I will not mention, who just agreed to be paid 30,000 recently. And unfortunately, the unions were pressing him to do something that he ought to have done that his counterpart states have been doing for years. This is unfair. We should also know that this servant, this public civil servant, this gardener, this clerical officers, these secretaries, they also have family, they have wives, they have children to cater for, they have school fees to pay, they have house rent to pay, they have transportation to pay, they have cars to maintain. So how do they, within the party structure that you are paying them? It's important that government should be sincere. Those who are in government should be sincere. Then they should also reduce the number of political appointees. If they cannot, they should slide down the amount of money payable to them. Until when political offices become less attractive, that is when you see Nigeria go. But when it is too attractive, the amount of money a councillor will receive in a year is more than what a professor will receive in 5 years. When you have such a situation, how do you expect there to be growth? How do you expect there to be development? How do you expect there to be sincerity of purpose? They say salary workers, salary earners does not become millionaires in, motivational speakers have said that, not in Nigeria. Salary workers in Nigeria, salary earners become millionaires, they become billionaires because of corruption.
Right, definitely. Thank you so much for that. And